What's up guys, this is Zilla here, and today I'm making another discussion video following the last one, as we promised, a video, if you haven't guessed already, on Madara versus Aizen.
Yeah, this is something we've been debating about for the longest time. I'm personally on Team Aizen, or my friend here is on Team Madara. So we're gonna go over like the different states and forms of each character, like pitting them against each other and see who would most likely win in a neutral battle. Like, we're going to be taking on base Aizen without the Hogyoku versus base Madara. So no Edo Tensei Madara for you with the Rinnegan, because that's just instant win. We're gonna take on like the various different fusions of Aizen with the Hogyoku versus like one Rinnegan Sage mode, Sage 6 Pass Madara, and one with both Rinnegan. And then as like a bonus we could like talk about Aizen and the Thousand Blood Art and I guess Rinne Sharingan, Madara, I guess.
Right. Also, at the end of the video, be sure to also state who you think would win in the comment section below. Okay, so, Jordan, do you want to talk about Aizen first, or should I talk about some of base Madara's
You can go ahead with base Madara, and I can interject since Aizen's pretty much a cakewalk for me to explain.
Alright then, okay.
Madara's gonna take this.
Okay, so, just to be clear, we're using Madara, basically, when he's not in Edo Tensei state, so basically...
Like the Madara that fought Hashirama in the Final Valley.
But we are including his ability to use some wood style techniques. So
well, he does have that. He's gonna have his Sharingan. He's gonna have wood style. So in Susanoo,
but no Rinnegan though.
He doesn't have it in base.
No. All right, so here I got a list prepared here. Basically some things he did, some feats basically. For one thing, he was recognized as a child prodigy and could take out adults during the First Ninja War while he was a child. He obtained the Sharingan at a young age and inherited Inja's chakra, and as a result was born with a massive amounts of chakra. He's able to keep his regular Sharingan activated almost constantly, so pretty much almost all the time.
Just like Itachi.
Pretty much. He obtained the Mangekyo Sharingan, and then after his brother Izuna died,
then he
got the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Let's see. He was able to compete on an even playing field with Hashirama, who was basically considered to be like the strongest ninja in history for a while.
At that point in time, at least.
Yeah, before Naruto got his god amps.
Like tier 1.
Let's see what else we got here. He obtained a Rinnegan at the end of his life, but I can't include that.
Well, no, he didn't get it until like old age, because he had Hashirama cells, and they didn't completely fuse together with his Uchiha blood to create the Rinnegan yet. Exactly.
He was able to use the Susanoo since he had the Mangekyo.
Like his main ability.
He has the capability, or has taken out the entire Shinobi Alliance by himself.
Granted, this was Edo Tensei Madara that did that, but even without it, I think he could, because no one can realistically compete with him except like tier 1 characters like Hashirama.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we're talking about someone who was like battling Hashirama almost regularly. Like anyone who could do that could probably take out anyone else beneath
when
him.
He was like in the war, he was like botting like the vast majority of them without even using Susanoo yet. He was like hand volley whipping them. Like, I remember when he did, like, a Grand Sacred Flame Fireball Jutsu, it took, like, several Kirin Ninja to make a water wall.
Exactly. And even then, he just used, like, the resulting vapor as just, cover to do other crazy shit. Let's see. Now, in terms of battle tactics, he could quickly devise a number of approaches.
He's a fighting genius.
Yes, he is. Which means he can take like multiple approaches at once, or just he could devise it down to one approach.
Also, considering since he has the Sharingan, he can read and predict movements too, which helps a lot.
Right.
And can we just say that Madara is like easily OP, just in base?
Yeah. But I mean, so is Aizen in some degrees too.
Yeah, interject. Aizen, well, for starters, is one of the most powerful characters in the Bleachverse, like, easily, even if we're disregarding the Kyoka Suigetsu hacks, which is gonna be, like, a big play in the base forms. Like, when we were discussing this beforehand, like, 2 hours ago, the base forms between Madara and Aizen is gonna be, like, the heart of this battle, considering the other forms are kind of really, like, one way or the other with them.
Yeah, because, like, it was one thing I realized about when I was researching this is, like, as these guys were, like, basically progressing in their power and getting stronger and stronger, they were kind of relying less and less on their, like, for example, Aizen was relying less on Kyoka Suigetsu, and Madara was not really being as, you know,
he was mainly using the Rinnegan abilities. He didn't really need Susanoo after the Sage of Six Paths form.
Exactly. And I know guys are gonna start talking about things he did in the Storm 4 game, but we decided not to implement some things he did in there because...
As far as I recollect when I researched this, Madara never created like a black hole like he did in the games. Like the closest thing to that is like the Chibaku Tensei spear that Nagata did, but that's not really a black hole. That's manipulating gravitational force, and it's not like it doesn't function like a black hole.
Yeah, and also the same with like the Susanoo, like the Limbo Susanoo clones. But we'll get to that when I.
That's a theory, but let's see about that.
Yeah. So back to basically normal Madara, well, as normal as you can get.
Well, let's see how these abilities stack up with each character, though.
Right. So one thing I have here, the first thing I have here is that he has a natural affinity to fire style jutsu.
He could use all nature elements, though, couldn't he?
Yeah, he could, but I'm just gonna talk about fire primarily since that's what he was mainly using besides wood.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah. And one thing that I also read was that like Madara could, I don't think he could produce ash. It stated somewhere that he could like use ash as a cover, kind of like a smoke screen, but like in a vast area. So he could.
I don't know where you got that, because isn't the ash like specifically the closest thing you're making me think of is what Asuma did.
Yeah.
With his version of fire style,
but I think when I read that, the guy was like talking mainly about like that one point where like when those water shinobi, or not shinobi, but those shinobi were like using water style to counter his like fire.
Yeah, but that wasn't Madara producing ash. That was the steam as the result of fire and water clashing. though. That's not the same thing as him producing ash out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That's not really what I meant.
That's why I'm not saying that's something he could do, but I just think that, I didn't see
Aizen
it,
Aizen doesn't utilize water abilities, so that's not gonna cancel. Well, Aizen as a swordsman, like, cause you forgot that Madara has the Gunbi fan.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that later, actually.
Oh yeah, well that's a part of base Madara though,
yeah.
Considering it's weapons against weapons. Like, it's very much on par with Zanpakuto without the abilities part aspect to it. Also, Madara can like he could also like reflect projectiles with a gust of wind from that, as he's shown, and he can also block with it too.
Yeah, like he was able to like basically block against Naruto's, I think, mini-tailed beast bomb, like with his Gunbai, and was like basically reflecting the force right back at him when he used it.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Also, before I get to like the game breaker with Aizen, how do you think Aizen would do if he didn't have Kyoka Suigetsu in base?
He'd probably last a little bit, but I don't see him winning.
I personally think this is like a long drawn-out fight regardless. Yeah. It's just without it, because even without Kyoka Suigetsu, while it's Aizen's main trump card, it's not his only means of fighting.
Yeah.
Granted, while Aizen is a grandiose manipulator at the end of the day, it's just I don't see Aizen going down easily regardless of the situation. So I can concede that without Kyoka Suigetsu, Aizen would lose, but it's like it's not like something that he's a one-sided victory for Madara. It's gonna take everything to win. Like, I know that Aizen doesn't have anything like the Susanoo with Madara, but Aizen's a really durable beast, considering that he was able to fight Yamamoto and withstand in his flames. Like, I remember a scene in the series when Yamamoto like was gonna do like a suicidal Kido spell on Aizen, and he took it pretty fine.
Yeah.
Like, he was still perfectly good. And also for the fact that Madara has ninjutsu and all that stuff, Aizen has a bunch of Kido spells that he could use too, like Kurosuchi. And he also has a bunch of other spells. Granted, he has not shown all the spells because we've only seen him use like a few, but I don't put it past that he could use all the other abilities we've seen, considering that he can span like a level 80 some spell, like, or actually level 90 spell, Kurasuchi, with no incantation, which is a big deal in the Bleach verse, considering that most characters that use it without incantation can't use it as full power, but when they do, it's like massively powered, as we've seen with him against Ichigo, but that was a different form of Aizen. But even still, that still signifies how powerful that spell is, and Aizen can do it casually without the incantation.
Yeah, although I'm not sure. I think one thing Madara could do is just block it with his Gunbai, but I don't know if Gunbai can take.
How can he block
force.
Kurasuchi though with the Gunbai? It's like creates a dome around him. It's not like something. It's not an attack coming at him.
Did it create a dome?
Yeah, it
Oh,
does.
it's
It creates
dragon.
the rectangular sphere. Remember?
Oh yeah, because the pillars. Yeah, shit,
Yeah, that's not a projectile spell. That's like an entrapment spell that causes immense damage from the inside. That's a different spell.
Oh no, wait, I was thinking of something else actually. No. Oh,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
thinking of that dragon.
That's a different thing.
Yeah.
But
Kurasuchi. For that,
that's like his main Keto spell that he uses because he loves to use that spell a lot.
the thing about that is, I feel like just by having the Sharingan activated, he might be able to see that coming and maybe be able to find a way to either
Well,
dodge
even
that.
then, if he gets trapped in it, I think Susanoo can protect him.
There's also that too.
It's a really powerful defense because I don't see
Like-
Aizen, with the exception of this one spell that we'll talk about later, because I don't think that'll factor into his base form. I don't think Aizen has like a powerful, grandiose attack to like break the Susanoo.
Yeah, like the only way is really count as if he finds a way to like get under.
Well, here's
or,
the thing: could Aizen's immense strength crack the Susanoo like Tsunade? Because I remember when Aizen was attacking was fighting the captains, and
first time or second time, I can. There was, like,
during
first-
the war.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's what I mean. Like he broke Kuromura's. He stopped Kuromura's Bankai bearing and then slashed his arm off.
If that's in the compare, then
He
yeah.
slashed the armor. He didn't slash his arm. Kuromura.
Well, then yeah, maybe Aizen.
That's a significant feat, and plus he blocked. I don't know if he did it barehanded, but I know he blocked the swing of the sword, and it was a giant sword. Remember?
Yeah.
I don't know if he did it barehanded. I think he did. I don't remember exactly, but he did block that attack, and then he just slashed the giant's arm off, and in turn slashed Komura's arm. And also beforehand, back before when he, like during the Ryoka arc, he was even able to stomp Komura then. Like he kind of blocked his attack then used Kurasuchi to just one-shot him. So that just proves he has immense strength.
Yeah. So I guess maybe Aizen might be able to at least
I don't
damage.
know. Like I think the problem is I don't know if he's like the Tsunade level strength to where he can like break the Susanoo, and plus you have to factor in that when Tsunade did that, she used the 100 healings release jutsu.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, I don't think Aizen has the capacity to like break a Susanoo, but he could probably at least.
I think
damage
he
it a
has
little
the
bit.
strength to push it back.
Yeah. So
But the problem is Aizen doesn't really fight hand to hand.
Yeah.
It's not his main fighting style. And I know that Aizen once ripped off Gin's hand, but then again that was the Hogyoku form. That's a completely different thing.
Yeah. We can probably know that amped his physical.
How about
abilities.
combat speed between the two of them?
As far as combat speed goes, I mean, you haven't seen Madara like really boast about anything about his speed. We know that.
I think in terms of speed, Aizen gets it because of Shugo, but we haven't really seen. I think in terms they're like on par with each other in terms of combat speed.
Yeah, like if they were like a combat straight up like running race, they'd probably be
Well,
like.
Aizen doesn't really run when he's a Shugo. Well,
Shugo.
then it's not really travel speed; it's more reaction combat speed. That's the thing we're factoring in here because that's a big difference. Because
Yeah, but that is like. I'm pretty
actually,
sure-
Madara gets the edge because he has the Sharingan, which enhances his perception and also gives him better reflexes because he can foresee things beforehand, whereas Aizen has to operate on the spot.
pretty much.
Whereas Aizen, like, he's good. He has really good reaction time. Like, for example, like when he was fighting against Shinji in the inverted world. Well, granted, Aizen couldn't really do anything because everything was inverted. And Shinji pointed out that Aizen, even though if you have the best reflexes, your body can only operate a certain way. You can't deviate from that.
Yeah. Also, one thing I also wanted to say is that, like, if the battle goes on long enough, and long enough, maybe like 10 seconds or so, like, Madara could consider and also use wood clones as well, and those wood clones can also use all the same abilities as well
They
as.
can use the Susanoo.
As well as
I don't
Susanoo.
think the wood clones could use the perfect Susanoo, but they can use like the skeletal one that we saw against Sōsuke.
Yeah, basically the one that can walk around and do stuff.
But here's the question though, would Madara utilize that in a battle, considering when he did that he was an Edo Tensei, and that's had infinite chakra? chakra. Like, wouldn't that drain his reserves just to create the wood clones themselves, and then you have each wood clone do a Susanoo? Well, he can do wood release though. He doesn't even need the wood clones per se.
Well, I don't know about them using Susanoo, but I do know that he was probably still utilize them regardless.
Well, he definitely would utilize the wood release in general as the master precipitation to create like the pollen poison flowers.
Plus, also, if Madara really wants to create like a quick distraction, he could also use like the what's it called, deep fourth emergence jutsu.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, just to be like, hey, look, Aizen distraction. You know?
Yeah, but I think Aizen could particularly get around that though, because he is pretty speed and he has a lot of defensive skills. Like,
it probably wouldn't harm him, but it would probably just be like, it'd be a good way to just make a big
well, I was
distraction.
thinking more of the pollen that would get in the way.
There's also that too.
Unless if Aizen can get rid of the pollen somehow, maybe through a Huddle spell or something. I don't think Kuroshichi would cut it, but he could have it. I'm just saying he could use a Keto spell to get around that because Aizen is a master use of Keto, considering he could do like these high incantations with no effort.
Just like either fan it away or if he can somehow filter it from his mouth.
I don't.
Maybe so.
I think if he uses it, if the poison gets to him, Aizen can't really do anything at that point. But that's if he uses it. But I think I'm gonna go into the big thing. That's the big problem with base versus base is the Kyoka Suigetsu argument.
Oh yeah.
Because let's be realistic here.
Yeah.
Like with Madara with the Sharingan, he would be able to tell something's happening. Because one of the weaknesses of Kyoka Suigetsu is even though it can sense when it's being activated. Like you can feel it give away, and also the illusions you can like examine, like with Unohana. Like, remember when she examined Aizen's fake corpse and Unohana knew something was wrong with it?
Yeah.
It's like, you can tell the disparity in the illusions, but, well, to a certain degree, they're not completely flawless, but I think the biggest thing to give it away is you can sense when it's happening. Like, let's be realistic here. Madara does not have an answer for Kyoka Suigetsu, at least in base. Like...
Yeah, like, basically, if Madara, like... Even with the Sharingan, like, if he would get caught inside the illusion...
He can perceive it happening, but Madara would have no way to get out of the illusion because the only known way to get out of it is touch negation of the blade before complete hypnosis takes place, but Madara would not really know that ahead of time.
Yeah, I mean, he might be able to eventually figure it out, but it's like...
It would be too late, though, because the complete hypnosis would happen.
Exactly.
Also, here's my question, though. Do you really... Oh, guys, all it takes is Madara to not see the Kyoka Suigetsu release. But here's the thing, though. We've been discussing back and forth between how it works because we've seen him activate it and deactivate it.
Yeah.
We've been thinking, is the activation invisible to where you can't tell? Like we saw, like the 3 times we've seen Aizen use Kyoka Suigetsu, he saw deactivating the illusion to where we saw it proceed, but we don't see him because we don't see the release state. We don't see him activate it, in terms of releasing it.
Yeah, that's the issue. Like, we don't know exactly if it's something
we
you
see
him
deactivate it, but we don't see the activation. Like, he doesn't do the release call like most others on Bakuto does.
There's also we don't know how long it takes for it to come to effect.
Is the complete hypnosis instantaneous, or is it like a temporary thing? Because the problem with Aizen is, well, with the Gin example, was Aizen really prepared to use Kyoka Suigetsu against Gin? Like, Aizen claimed he knew what Gin was going to betray him eventually, but he was kind of caught off guard about that, and plus, he was in his hubris because of the Hogyoku, though.
Yeah.
But still, I think the biggest... I'm saying that's instantaneous for me, personally, because I don't see why it wouldn't be, because they never made it seem like there was a cooldown in terms of a timer of how long it takes.
I feel like it just depends on how far away it is. I feel like if you're up close.
Well, I don't think it's a distance. I think as long as you see it, that's the thing.
Yeah.
And that actually works against Madara because he has enhanced perception because of the Sharingan.
That would be the case, and then he'd be able to do something about it at that point, maybe.
Well, no, but he could see the sword when drawn out, but Aizen doesn't call for Kyoka Suigetsu to get activated though, because I think, we never seen him, do it against a freshly new target. At least all the examples we've seen him do it was under individuals that's already been exposed to it.
Well, here's one thing I gotta ask you, though. Wouldn't Aizen have to say the incantation for it to work?
Well, that's the problem, though. We've never seen him do that.
Yeah.
We don't know because it's never been established because all we've seen him do was against individuals that's already under the hypnosis. I think he can do it like my belief is he can do it without an incantation to release it, unless he dispels it, because it's flawless to the point where no one really can tell what's happening when it happens.
Yeah.
Except for sensing, the only way you can notice it's happening is if Aizen purposely dispels the illusions, or like I said earlier, you sense Kyoka Suigetsu's Raietsu, because that's a dead giveaway that something's going on with it. You can perceive it, and Madara could possibly receive that, but he wouldn't know what's going on though at that point.
Yeah. Also, though, on the opposite spectrum of this argument, though, you could also say that, like, Madara could also get Aizen under Genjutsu
I
instead
think
first.
it's possible, but the problem is that, for starters, Aizen would have to look Madara straight in the eye, whereas the Blade's more of a lookable target, because, for one thing, granted, Aizen would know Madara has Genjutsu abilities, but I think he could figure out pretty quickly.
You think Aizen would look for it pretty quickly?
I think he could perceive it, considering, remember, Aizen's an illusion manipulator himself, and...
But would he know that, like, Madara is too?
No, let me finish.
Sorry.
Well, I'm saying that, granted he would know, but once he sees that his abilities are eye-based,
Yeah.
I think he would be more cautious. Well, he may not necessarily know their Genjutsu know his Genjutsu abilities. Aizen would snuff out pretty quickly that, okay, this guy's using abilities based on his eyes because his eyes are different, so he would realize that quickly and probably either try to go for the eyes or try to make sure not to look in his eyes for any possible illusion abilities, because Aizen is an illusion master himself. Granted, Madara doesn't do illusions nearly as much as Aizen does, but
Yeah.
I think Aizen could figure it out.
Well, based on that, then all Madara wants to do is just not make his eyes change. Well,
No,
I guess
because
if I'm
he's gonna have his Sharingan active if he's gonna use his abilities, though.
Yeah.
He's not gonna dispel it, why would he?
No, what I'm saying is, like, if Madara comes into the battle with his Sharingan already activated, which we stated he could, then it's like, well, the instant that
I don't think he's gonna use the Genjutsu right off the bat, though, because they're gonna start a considerable distance away.
Yeah.
I don't like the way we're making this fight work. I think Madara could use the basic Genjutsu in Aizen. I don't think it will, like, cripple him completely, because I think Aizen could get out of it, though. Because of his massive spiritual power, I think it could, like, shake him out of it a little bit, because the way it works is... Okay, I know this is one thing we've been going back and forth, is chakra and spirit energy.
Yeah.
I kept saying no, but considering how the nature of Naruto works, because chakra is like a hereditary thing because of Kaguya.
Thanks, Kaguya. You messed up this whole thing for me now.
Whereas spirit energy is kind of like from an environment perspective.
Yeah.
Whereas chakra is like an inner perspective, and Genjutsu kind of works as manipulating chakra. And for the sake of this argument, let's just say it works on spirit energy too, I guess. But I think Aizen would know the change in spirit energy because he could sense, unlike Naruto, where only some characters, like there's the sensor type that can sense chakra and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone in Bleach can perceive Raietsu, you know? It's like something everyone can perceive, so Aizen could like perceive Madara's chakra levels and notice something changing. And he could also sense the spirit energy himself changing and could also do something, you know?
So like in the end, it just comes to who can do their
I think for the
special
base form,
performance.
like if we're not taking Kyoka Suigetsu, I feel like it's a hard drawn fight and Madara could win. But it's like something that takes Madara's like, because granted, Madara has just like more impressive abilities, because I don't see Aizen getting around the Susanoo, especially if he uses the perfect Susanoo, which I don't think he even needs against Aizen yet in this stage.
And with clones, Wood Clone or Shadow would be like
Wood clones are more effective than Shadow clones because they're more durable.
Yeah, but
because they're actual, constructs. True, but the Wood clones would just be win. But then again, I don't think that would really matter in the grand scheme of things if Kyoka Suigetsu works, because Aizen could just do hypnosis and Madara can't dispel it because he would not have no real way to do it. Because his Sharingan can't dispel it because it manipulates all of your senses and it's not influencing chakra or anything, so it doesn't really... It's not like Koga's ability where he influences your spirit energy.
Alright.
To disrupt your senses. Aizen just is flawless in hypnosis. Even if like Aizen told him about the hypnosis, by that point I think it's too late because...
Yeah, if you could tell him at that point, he would have already been under it, and then it's like, yeah.
Psychological warfare is not going to play a factor here yet.
Not as
because he doesn't know about Hashirama, so that's not going to factor in, and Madara's not going to be able to use psychological warfare against Aizen, so...
Yeah.
Intelligence, well, they're both fighting geniuses, but they have two different mindsets, though. Madara's the warrior, whereas Aizen's more of the manipulator.
True. Although they both did make it to become leaders of their respective eras.
That's true, but then again, you have to factor in different circumstances because, well, actually, I arguably say Aizen had more of intelligence and leadership experience because Aizen's lived longer than Madara.
Well, that's not even fair. He's a freaking
Easily,
Shinigami.
and plus, Madara spent the majority of the series dead, where Obito kind of was taking in the reins, where Aizen was manipulating everything from like the very beginning.
True, yeah.
Like he manipulated all the courses, so it's well, Madara planned the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
In the end, that was more of Obito leading the reins and making sure everything was in place, though. It was just Madara that had the design, but Obito was the one doing all the heavy work.
He still came up with it, though. The same.
Well, then again, technically Black Zetsu did.
You don't talk about Blood Zetsu.
Yeah, Black Zetsu kind of breaks the story.
God. Alright. So, do we have anything else to say about their base forms, or are we ready to move on to their...
In terms of base forms, Kyoka Suigetsu, I say it depends if Aizen gets it first. If he does, he wins. If he doesn't, it could go either way, depending how the fight goes.
We're shifting a little towards Madara, though.
Yeah, if without Kyoka Suigetsu, yeah, Madara got this nail hands down, even though, but it's not an easy fight, because Madara would be, like, almost, it's like life and death situation. It's kind of like Hashirama versus Madara, except...
If Hashirama had the ability to hypnotize...
No, it's kind of like the Hashirama versus Madara fight, except Madara wins.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Okay, one thing I also forgot to mention was like the involvement of the Nine Tails, because Madara could also summon that, but...
Yeah, but at that point, though, I don't think it really mattered to him. Like, if he did like what he did against Hashirama, it really...
Hashirama.
Sorry, I think it really... Oh, here's a good question. What if Aizen did Kyoka Suigetsu against Kurama, though?
Oh shit, then he'll have the Kurama.
But here's the thing, would it override the control that Madara would have on him?
Well, for all we know, it'll either do that, or it could cancel...
actually, yeah, because he's not controlling him, he's just... Oh yeah, there's a difference, though. He's not Madara is controlling the QB, whereas Aizen would just simply manipulate its senses, though. So he's not, like, controlling him, though. So, yeah, it would work, because he's not controlling the Nine Tails. He's not overriding anything. He's just manipulating all senses, so he could, like, make the QB, like Madara is, like, controlling it, and, like, Aizen uses Kyoka Suigetsu to make Madara Aizen and have it attack him, like, switch roles. That'd be crazy.
That, or Madara could just do the thing with Susanoo QB and then it'd be like overkill.
Well, what if Aizen gets it off first, though, with the Kyoka Suigetsu?
It just goes back to the same thing we just concluded.
Then it kind of goes either way, depending how Aizen uses it. Like, he could either subtly make the QB inert, or just make it attack Madara somehow, but then Madara would negate it with his Sharingan.
Right. Alright, well then moving on. So now we have basically Madara when he got revived thanks to Obito.
Six paths Madara with one Rinnegan.
Sage 6 paths. Oh yeah. Basically Sage 6 paths.
Madara versus the Hogyoku Aizen. And the Aizen I'm taking it here is the Chrysalis form when he fought against Ishin, Kurasuchi, and Kisuke.
Yes, basically when he was covered in the
Because all he had in the first fusion is just he demonstrated the regeneration factor.
So we don't have much to say about that. I mean,
he's not too different in that state, to be completely honest. It was just demonstrating of the regeneration that you granted him, to be honest.
Yeah. No. Now, as to list off what Madara could do at this point...
Completely different beast.
Pretty much. Like, here's the thing. As far as durability goes, we know that he could take attacks, well not tank, but take attacks from like tailed beasts when they were physically hitting him with the, paws and shit. And
well, except for when Naruto bodied him with a Rasen Shuriken.
Well, that was not a physical attack though, that was like an explosion.
That counts on his durability though.
Yeah.
He would have. Or how about the night guy, but then again...
Well, he survived it at least.
Well, he only because of the regeneration after Hashirama stones.
Which is another thing he has. He can regenerate using that.
Well, technically he has that in base form too.
He could still use his Susanoo, but he didn't do it while he was in Sage mode, so we don't know.
Well, he doesn't have the Sharingan anymore, but then again, I think he could do it even without it because we saw him do it when he was resurrected and he was blind somehow. Like, how is he? That's a big plot hole. Like, how could he use the Susanoo when he had no Sharingan at that point? But I can say for certain he can't use the other Sharingan abilities because he doesn't have Sharingan anymore. He has Rinnegan. That's a different thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So Susanoo is the outlier, but I don't think he would use it because then it's like no contest.
And let's see. Besides that, there's also these things called limbo clones that he could use.
Yeah, creating clones in an alternate dimension that you can't perceive unless you have either the Rinnegan or Sage's Six Paths chakra.
Yeah.
So something which Aizen doesn't have, so that's gonna be annoying.
There's also, let's see, he can summon basically the ghetto statue, but
How can he summon the Ghetto statue if he's the Sage of Six Paths Madara?
also like before he got like the Sage 6 Paths. I was gonna say like
Oh, we're not using that version.
I was gonna say that. Well, yeah, but that's essentially how he became the Sage of Six Paths. He also has these like black receivers. Like, remember basically for guys who watch Naruto, with that thing that Pain has with
The
those.
chakra receivers, pretty much, that could like probably cripple anybody really.
Basically, if he
And you can
attached them onto someone.
transmit chakra through it. But then again, like I said, those things, same with the chakra chains, are a different Madara though, not the Sage of Six Paths Madara, which I want to go on.
Let's see. And let's see. He has all Rinnegan abilities basically, so he can use things like not Chibaku,
Steal people's souls.
Yeah.
Do the
Summon-
soul dragons.
Summon meteors.
Greek planetoid, pretty much. Gravitational forces. Can revive the dead.
Pretty much, but he wouldn't.
There's no reason that won't try and play, and you can't revive anybody because, you know, that's an instant death move for him, and he can't revive himself. So
And-
that's not a factor. He could summon the animal paths of pain if he wanted.
He could also fly. I think he could fly with just the one eye, or maybe it was with the two.
Well, that was more of Nagato manipulating gravity,
Yeah.
but that was through the Yahiko path thing, the Diva path, but I don't think Madara can fly yet at this point.
Alright, so we'll just
He
say that for
doesn't.
a
He
week.
definitely has the truth seeking orbs, which is like the biggest game changer for you.
Oh, for sure. Those things literally are like all the elementals put together.
It's like an instant kill attack that you can't block unless you have stage powers, but Aizen won't have stage powers.
Just imagine if you could just getting hit by all elements at once.
Like they're so powerful, like they destroy like Edo. Like if you get part of your body destroyed while Edo Tensei, it doesn't regenerate because it pretty much nullifies all jutsu for the most part.
Speaking of nullifying jutsu, that's basically what he can do as well in this state. So, yeah.
Well, Aizen, as stage 1, he mainly demonstrated more of the physical side of things. Like, his strength boosted tremendously. Like, he was fighting 3 above-average captain combatants without really trying. And he can tank a lot more hits. Like, remember when he got tanked by Ishin's Getsuka Tensho? All that really happened was a crack to his head. He's like, and then he just went on to sweep all of them instantly. It's like, and yet the fact that how powerful these characters are. You got Kisuke, the smartest character in Bleach by far.
Yoriichi, who was like one of the fastest, I
She's the
remember.
fastest in the Bleach verse, and the Hakuda god, like pretty much the taijutsu equivalent of Guy in Naruto. And then you have Ishin, like who's like really vamped in power so much that we can't have him use his full power because of plot.
Jeez, I'm still pissed about that to this day, but yeah. So
The physical feast though is really immense, and I think if he get a good hit on him, he would definitely dent Madara a lot, considering we're not gonna have him have Susanoo in this version.
yeah.
But the biggest problem I see him ignoring the Rinnegan paths for the paths of pain for example,
yeah.
is the Limbo clones, because Aizen has no real way to counter it.
Pretty
he can't.
much.
He won't be able to perceive it because he doesn't have a Rinnegan or a Sage of Six Paths chakra. He would feel damaged, but he can't perceive them and intercept them properly.
So basically, he could just low-key have those guys either do the rogue form or just.
But then
leave
again,
bomb
wouldn't
crush
Aizen
him.
have regeneration though?
He would, but I mean, at the same time, if he can somehow obliterate, like
It just comes down to also you forgot to mention about the light thing.
Light thing? Well, I mean, I don't know if that was a thing he could do with just the one eye.
Yeah, he did.
He did?
Yeah,
I
if
thought he
you
had 2 eyes.
no, if you look back at the picture, he only had 1 eye because he didn't get 2 eyes yet.
I think I still have it. I think it's somewhere.
Yeah, because he can also shoot lightning from his fingertips. Like, remember?
Yeah.
But still, yeah, which is like fastest speed of light, because it took like Naruto to dodge it, but he was like KCM Sage mode, and it was at point blank range. So Naruto has like faster than speed of light reactions. And
Oh, you're talking about the light. I keep getting confused with the light with the lightning thing. Sorry.
what the hell, dude?
Yeah.
Yeah, he can do that. He only needed one Rinnegan to do it.
Nah, yeah.
Both
Sorry.
of those abilities he can do with just one Rinnegan, dude.
So basically, he has that, and
Which could properly cripple Aizen.
so with all
If he
that,
caught him off guard. And he could possibly do that because of the Limbo clones to like throw him off. And plus, we're not factoring Kyoka Suigetsu in this form Aizen, so that's not an instant game changer.
so with all of that going against Aizen, do you think he's still in a chance?
I say Aizen has a harder time. This would be a harder fight for Aizen to win than base.
Yeah.
Even though Aizen's more powerful because of Aizen's operations, and plus he's more cocky in this state.
If I remember correctly, at this point in the story, Aizen was kind of relying more on the Hogyoku's
He was relying on the durability and the regeneration to get him through because at that point, well, to be fair, at that point he already knew he was more powerful than all of them, so he was just playing with them.
Yeah.
And also, you have to factor in all these feats with Madara. He was not even going fully serious yet.
Yeah, like these guys at this point were both just playing around, sort of. So.
Well, Aizen was more carefree with it because he had regeneration hacks and durability power, and plus the immense strength to pursue it, persevere through anything. But Madara would have a run for his money, but I guess we'll give this to Madara because I don't see Aizen realistically winning in this state.
Might as well.
And then there's the other forms of Aizen, the ones with the wings, and then the one when, well, actually before that, the one when he came out of the crystal shell. All he really did is demonstrate more strength and power, but, and then, well, the biggest thing is the teleportation was stage 3, which he teleported against Gin and killed him, then he ripped off his arm and practically killed him, but that's not really too much showing, because it's not too different than the crystal's form, except being more powerful, so I'm skimming through those ones. Because I don't think it wouldn't really make too much of a difference against this form of Madara, even with the teleportation.
Right. So I guess the last form we should talk about basically is just the final form when Madara has both his eyes and then
both Rinnegan and then Aizen in his full hollow monstrosity state that fought Ichigo in the outskirts of Karakura Town.
Right.
Okay, oh man, so much more powers. 1, got way more powerful.
Oh yeah.
2, can shoot arrows out of the multiple mouths, paste heads that came off from his back. Greater regeneration, greater power. And then, I know this was an ability that well, let me say this. If Aizen can grab Madara and do that one ring of blast of death that he did in the games that he was going to do against Ichigo that didn't do,
Yeah.
do you think Madara would survive that?
Well, if I remember the blast correctly. Well, the thing is, I don't know how powerful the blast is, because the games are one thing, but I don't know.
I know, but that's something Aizen was going to do. I think, given how it is, let me put this in perspective.
Yeah.
One of the Cero blasts that Aizen used, that he threw off from one of the heads, was able to blow up a mountain to smithereens, which is one blast. And he wasn't like a focus blast, he just like threw the orb and it blew up the mountain.
Well, I mean...
And granted, while Madara can do something like that, since hell, back in this perfect Susanoo, just the swing of the sword, just not even the sword making contact with those mountains, he was able to slash up out mountains with the shockwave, for Christ's sake. No, yeah, he sliced them all with the shockwave, but then again, but he didn't like obliterate the mountains, he just sliced them, but the Cero like obliterated the mountain and like the surrounding area to where it was like the equivalent of like a nuclear bomb going off. Imagine the whole ring of that. Imagine like several nuclear bombs going off at once. I think that's like way more powerful than the Night Guy attack that Guy used.
I don't know, because it's like that same attack that Night Guy used basically blasted Sage Mode Madara
I don't think
all the
Madara
way.
can regenerate if there's nothing left of him. It's like incinerated. But that is if Aizen grabs him. And also, you forget, Aizen can teleport. I know he didn't do it against Ichigo, but stage 3 could teleport, so I don't see why he wouldn't be able to teleport in this final stage.
Well, I mean, here's the one thing I also should probably state is that...
And he also could deal with the Limbo clones a lot better, too.
Well, yeah,
because he could just fire Ceros everywhere.
Yeah.
Plus regeneration hacks.
One thing I should probably point out is the fact that at that point, the only thing that could really hurt Madara is basically anyone who has like
Tier 1.
Sage mode chakra, or basically using Taijutsu. And
yeah, okay, I know you're gonna go on that with the truth-seeking orbs. Like, I know that he didn't do it, but I know he could possibly do this. Like, you know how Obito, like, shaped the True Seeking Orbs to, like, various forms of attack and defense? I know Madara didn't do it technically, but I think he could. He just wouldn't for some reason.
I think you could also make a shield with that. Like, I remember in the games, so when you block...
Well, that's part of the shape manipulation thing, but I'm just saying Madara could possibly do that because Obito could do it. But here's the thing. I know that Taijutsu... Well, Aizen's got pure physical force, though. Remember when he clashed with Ichigo and the mountain exploded?
Yeah, I'm not doubting that would work.
I think that would work, because I say Aizen's physical strength is way beyond Guy's at this point.
Yeah, more or less.
So I think if he just swings his sword at that, because the sword's infused to his hand, so...
Yeah.
I think he could physically break it if he made a shield out of it, but he just couldn't, like, block it with his sword or anything if he throws the orbs at him. But then again, Aizen can teleport and is fast, so I think he could evade it. Because all he ever does the orbs is just, like, shoot the orbs and stuff. He doesn't, like, shape manipulation. But I think if he did, then that would be a different story, though.
Yeah.
But, like, but considering that Aizen can teleport, though, do you think that Madara could get grabbed and then subdued with that attack? And I know,
it's likely,
I know this is another feat in the games, which I see is possible. But remember in the game, in the Aizen fight, when he shot like hundreds of lasers from the mouths?
Oh yeah.
I think that's like the equivalent of like mini Ceros, but he can still shoot Ceros though, so that's a big factor here.
Well, I think one thing Madara could do is counter those Ceros with his Truth-Seeking Orbs,
But he only has like 3 of them though. What if Aizen shoots from like several, because he has more than 3 heads?
That's true.
Or he could...
Well,
the Limbo clones won't intercept because the Limbo clones exist in a different dimension.
They block it just to sacrifice them.
No, because they can interact with the real world, but they don't appear in the real world though. It's like a parallel dimension though. I don't think it works that way.
Yeah.
But I don't think like they absolutely influence the physical world with their presence in the same plane of reality as us, but they can interact with it. But I'm just saying they're like...
You know what I'm saying? Like Misaki's blocked the things, but not like, you know...
I don't think... Yeah, but then... Well, even if then the Limbo clones would just get eradicated then, because Aizen could just keep spamming that then.
Yeah. But we are talking like a fight to the death, sort of, so I mean, at that point, I think he might be willing to. Like, not as like the first initial, but like...
I know, but I'm just saying the Limbo clones would be no problem with Aizen at this point, because he was just destroying the area around him. So I think this is the stage where the Limbo clones get eliminated, because granted, Aizen can just predict that because he can still feel the injuries, so he can just shoot all around them and the Limbo clones have nowhere to go. It's a parallel world.
Yeah.
So I don't see the Limbo clones being a factor anymore here.
There's also
Oh, I know this is gonna work against me, but what about the planetoids?
Yeah, I was going to say that. Could Aizen hit it himself? You think could Aizen survive that many?
Well, it depends. Well, Aizen would most likely at that point try to blow it up with the Ceros.
Well, yeah, if he was like shooting it from the north. Or you could try
The meteorites don't come in instantaneously, they do descend.
Yeah.
They're just so massive that you need a lot of power to destroy it, but I think Aizen could if he just fires the Ceros at it.
I'm saying also, what if Madara would have tried to do that? Even that combination he does when he does ultimate in the game. What if you try to rush him like that right into it, and then basically...
Well, that's a different thing, because Aizen at that point... I was thinking more of Madara using the Chibaku Tensei to, like, send Aizen through the gravitational force to the orb, but I think at that point it would just be like Aizen destroying the orb, because remember when Nagato did that against Naruto, Bee, and Itachi, and it took, like, all 3 of them using their strongest projectile attacks just to destroy the core?
Yeah.
Aizen could just simply do that with the Ceros, because I think with all the Cero heads, with all the hollow heads put together with us firing Ceros, I think that's more force than those 3 put together.
You think so?
I see it as Aizen Ceros is equivalent to a tailed beast bomb, dude. That's how I at least perceive it. And it took like 3 versions of, at least equivalents of that, where Aizen could just shoot more than that. And plus he could also, I don't know, focus the blast. If we really want to. And also, I know... Yes, there's anything called Keto!
I feel like at the end of the day, I think it just comes down... Like, it feels pretty even, but with it shifting a little slightly towards Aizen.
I think in this form, It really depends if whoever can obliterate the other first. It can really go either way.
It's be like one huge bomb fest, basically.
That depends if Aizen wants to nuke the whole field, but this is like the weirdest one for me. It's like it could really go either way depending what happens. There's no real obvious winner here because Aizen doesn't have will not use Kyoka Suigetsu in this state.
Well, you could say
he could possibly, but why would he if he's reliant on the Hogyoku so much?
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna say something more lines like it might also come down to like personality-wise, like their mental states at that point.
Well, Aizen goes more crazy and cocky and arrogant because he's fighting against someone who's he was fighting against a guy who thought he would not win. That's why he never used Kyoka Suigetsu on him in the first place. But if we're taking against Madara, a random guy, if he doesn't use Kyoka Suigetsu in this state. And also, we're taking these fights individually. We're not taking these as stages like the fights change in this state. No, we're not taking it like that because if that was the case, then it go back to the very beginning with the Suigetsu argument. We're just taking these fights separately, like we just drop them in.
Yeah.
Like each state against this state. Like, otherwise.
I was just gonna say like Madara, even though when he was at that powerful state, he still had a good grip on himself.
And also, Madara is still vulnerable because he's not full to blame. But I think for this final stage, it really comes down to who can kill who first. I don't see there being a decisive winner here in that stage.
So you're saying it's a bit more like even?
It could go either way, to be completely honest. This is where the opinions come in because of their respective mentalities and times, because you both have to take in the circumstances when these characters fought in these states and against who.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, I don't see Aizen putting up anything like sealing jutsu or whatever. Just things.
Oh, he doesn't have. You said sealing jutsu for Aizen.
Yeah, Aizen. No, I said Aizen can't do anything.
You mean sealing spells?
Sealing spells, because that's basically what they're.
And Madara won't use the sealing jutsu, so they're just trying to outright kill each other. But the problem is, one has like an all instant kill move and has limbo clones. And the other has, like, Sero spams and regeneration and teleportation.
Yeah.
Well, granted, Madara does have healing too, but let's be completely honest, I don't see the Hashirama regeneration nearly as good as the Hogyoku, because the Hogyoku regeneration is instantaneous.
Yeah, like, bro,
that's a completely different scale of regeneration than the... Because remember when Ichigo shot the final...
Yeah, Mugetsu against... Yeah, I was gonna say, like, he was able to regenerate from that.
If it wasn't for the Hogyoku healing him, he would have died.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like a fact. There's no way that Aizen would have survived without it, and especially not surviving enough to be and still feeling confident to keep fighting. It's like...
Exactly.
Plus, there's only so much we can say.
Alright, so now for this final part of the debate, it's basically talking about...
Can we touch on Thousand War Arc Aizen versus the versus? I know we can't touch... people are asking, why aren't you touching the Rinne Sharingan Madara? Because that Madara is really featless. All he really did was cast Infant Tsukiyomi, and to be fair, if he did that, that's an automatic win, so...
Yeah.
And plus, by the time he said, oh, I'm gonna go all out, that's when he got taken out of the story.
So we don't know exactly what
his
he could do.
true full powers. Actually, not full power, but more him being serious.
I mean, we could say at that point he can unleash some like deadly stuff like...
But at that point, I think that's just gonna be a Madara win.
Yeah.
But with Thousand War Blood Arc, let's just say Thousand War Blood Arc Aizen versus base Madara, because I don't honestly think he could beat any of the Sage of Six Paths versions of Madara.
Right.
I don't see it. So this version of Aizen is severely nerfed in terms of Kyoka Suigetsu, because the complete hypnosis is not perfect anymore, where he can still cast illusions flawlessly. It's just the biggest problem here is that Aizen has no control of what his target perceives, and Aizen himself doesn't know what his target perceives. Because, like, when he used it against Yuwatch or something in the final battle, Aizen was, like, intrigued that he was seeing Ichigo, because Aizen did not have control of what he was perceiving, and he himself did not know what he was perceiving, so...
Yeah, that was a huge... I was confused when I first read that manga.
Yeah. He can still do hypnosis, he's still retaining the Kyoka Suigetsu powers, it's been nerfed to where he doesn't have control over what happens with it.
Yeah.
Also, he's immortal at this point.
So Madara wouldn't be able to kill him.
He can't kill him. He can take him out of the fight, though.
Subdue him, basically.
He can, because he was practically... Well, remember when he was stabbed through with Yuha, but he wasn't dead? Like, he was still going. He wasn't even, like, fatigued. He wasn't even, like, phased or anything. He was just, like, intrigued in this battle.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't think he feels pain at this point. But, also, he has the strongest Hollow spell in the Bleach verse, the Dragon, that he used. But then again, that was against Yuha, and that was, like, a threat for him. Like, grant, if it wasn't for Yuha's the almighty altering fate, I think that would Aizen could be a fair game against him.
Well, again, it goes back to, well...
And also, plus, Aizen was kind of working with tandem with Ichigo, too. He wasn't fighting by himself. He was fighting for the sake of getting Ichigo the opportunity to strike.
If Aizen were to use it against Madara, I feel like that version of Madara could still just use his Goombay to just, like, reflect it back at him, possibly.
I don't really think it because of that powerful scale, because... it's like a powerful energy dragon, and plus it's the strongest hollow spell. It's like, this is not like a simple projectile like Kunai or Wind. I think I don't think the Gumbai can really help him in this thing. I was thinking more of the Susanoo playing more of a defensive role at that point.
Well, okay, before I talk about Susanoo, I was gonna say, like, we don't know the limits of what the Goombay can reflect.
I think that realistically we can say it can't like protect him from absolutely powerful energy attacks because we've never seen him do that.
True. And
I don't think that would be the case.
As far as Susanoo goes, yeah, that would probably be the next go-to.
I think it could break it considering Aizen's immense power. Oh yeah, to touch on that, Aizen's spiritual power is so insane. Like, remember when he was like being taken from his prison from like the guards escorting, like just being near him, like blew off the guard's hands just by his pressure, by his Raietsu alone.
Also remember how it was like literally like bringing down like the Soul Palace? I think that was what it did.
His power rivals the Soul King.
Exactly.
His spiritual power, that was like you watch one to recruit Aizen, like he was a special war power just because of his massive spiritual power, because it rivaled that of the Soul King.
Yeah.
It was like it was like crazy insane. And here's the thing, could his spiritual power like erode the Susanoo or something, or like hinder Madara with his drastic power release?
The thing is, I don't even know for sure if I could, but I mean, we do know that Susanoo is pretty durable in terms.
I know, but could Madara like himself withstand that amount of pressure? Because it could like destroy him. I personally think it would like blow up Madara. But this is more of a joke one because this is like Aizen post-war versus the Trigger Madara. But still, I think that just mere presence alone would like blow him up or something.
I know one version of Madara definitely would win. Edo Tensei Madara.
Well, yeah, but then again, they go back to the blowing up argument, and then it just be, well, that would just be a complete stalemate though, because neither of them could die.
Isn't it pretty cool, the infinite battle between
Aizen's
Madara?
immortal and Madara can regenerate, so it'd just be a never-ending battle.
That'd be pretty cool to see though, just like them like
especially
going
with
at
Madara's
it.
infinite chakra, so yeah, that would be a never-ending battle.
Yeah. So like with all that being said, guys, personally, I still think I'm still on Team Madara, although now I see...
It's really close. It's really hard to say. It could realistically be either one in base.
Yeah, because we're talking about basically two series, well, mainly big bads at the end of the story.
Extremely powerful ones that are like comparable to each other.
I mean, we're basically...
This is just our opinion based on what we know and the facts we have. This is what we think most likely would happen if these two were like placed in a fight. But then again, like any fight, anything can happen. This is not like the absolute verdict that could happen. Anything can really happen. This is like the most probable one. And if someone wins, it's like a 6 out of 10 barely split. You know?
Yeah, like I think out of all in all the forms, basically it'll all end with one side.
Aizen, with the exception of Yuha's god powers just instantly winning, is the only fair combatant that could beat Madara. If we're not taking like Yuha's with just almighty abilities, but that's a different thing.
Yeah.
Yuha's with body Kaguya, easily.
Yeah, probably because since
Kaguya
Kaguya can't even...
a planet buster, bro. Yuha's like a multi-planet buster, especially since he can defy fate with his powers.
Yeah, he was affecting 3 worlds at once just by his like...
Well, that was partly more due to the Soul King, the destruction, but yeah, he could influence that too. Plus, I can rewrite pretty much his almighty at that point.
Yeah.
He gets omniscience, which is pretty much infinite knowledge because he can see in the future.
Yeah.
And also, he pretty much has the Naruto's equivalent of Izanagi infinite spamming.
Pretty much. Without the blinding, like, side effects and things like that.
Pretty much infinite Izanagi spam. But that's a different thing. That's someone else already covered that anyway, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, all in all, this is an interesting fight that we like to talk about, because I'm personally with Aizen and base, but with other forms, it's really iffy to me. But I personally think it would be Aizen if the Kyoka Suigetsu argument.
Yeah, I'm still fit with the Madara argument, basically because he's a
I love Madara as a character, but I love Aizen more. But, well, here's the thing. What if we talked about them as villains in story?
In terms of how they affect
Aizen manipulated the whole world. Madara kind of had the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Until we get to Black Setsu and Kaguya.
We can both agree on one thing, though.
What?
In both of their respective stories, they were easily the best antagonists.
Well,
Considering who followed them.
Madara's better than Kaguya, and Aizen's a better villain than Yuha.
By far.
Yuha is like, no duh.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, imagine if they both like teamed up.
You mean like if they both team up against their respective villains, or like?
No, they like team up to take over their worlds.
Oh my god.
I think that'd just be instant win.
Game over. Was it Ichigo fight Madara? That's a whole
Well,
thing.
if we're not taking plot, I say Ichigo rivals Madara power-wise, but in terms of combative ability, I don't. Yeah, Madara's gonna win.
Yeah. And Naruto versus That's a weird fight.
Kyoka Suigetsu for the win!
No, we should just say Sasuke just for the sake of making it easier.
I think it's the same thing, because they don't have any counters to that.
Yeah.
You can't dispel it with sheer power, it doesn't work like that. Pretty much Aizen can embody all the Bleach, all the Naruto verse with Kyoka Suigetsu alone.
I'm pretty sure Madara would find a way to take out the Bleach verse too, possibly.
The Bleach verse
It'd be harder for him, but...
I think Madara would have a lot harder time fighting the Bleach verse than Aizen would do fighting the Naruto verse.
Yeah.
Because the Bleach verse is like way more powerful than the Naruto verse in terms of sheer power, especially since of the multiverse scale. Multi-realm scale, sorry. But either way, it's like Aizen embodies the Naruto verse, except with the exception of like Tier 1 and Tier 0. But then again, if we're not tackling Kyoka Suigetsu though, it's like they have no ways. It's not like a simple genjutsu.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty sure they would try that too. Alright, so with all that being said, I hope you guys like this video. Be sure to rate, comment, subscribe, and you can continue this conversation in the comment section below on who you think would win.
About it, please. I know people are so really like, oh, Madara #1 or Aizen's like, just remember, this is what we think, okay? We could be completely wrong, and we're fine with that.
Yeah, exactly, because, I mean, at the end of the day, I still like Madara overall, Uchiha clan for the win, you know?
And I just like Aizen more as a villain than Madara.
Plus, we all know DBZ owns all. I'm kidding.
The being who rejects this world, that is who Madara Uchiha is.
最初から誰も天に立ってなどいない。君も僕も神すらも。だが、その耐え難い天の座の空白も終わる。これからは私が天に立つ。